Whoa!
Welcome to the What's Already podcast, where we fashion ourselves television judge and jury. My name is JJ Carter. I'm here with my co-hosts Mattson and Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
That really shouldn't be as funny as it is to me, but
He does it so well. That's why it's funny.
I know. I'm waiting for Yosemite Sam to just be like, "What's up?"
You get slapped with a copyright
That's
infringement or
it
something.
could be.
Can't wait for a cease and desist letter.
Wouldn't surprise me. We got that one. It wasn't even copyright. It was like the language or the adult strike for the dumbest movie for Ambulance.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
Right, I remember that.
I was like, what the hell? And it's like, whatever, violence. And I'm like, it's part of the movie. Anyway, but they lifted it. So I guess that's okay. But anyway, welcome to the podcast. We appreciate you tuning in. Do please go ahead and hit that follow, subscribe, like, bell, notification buttons, all that stuff. Tell a friend about us. Tell family about us. I don't know. Tell a stranger about us.
Tell a Mandalorian about us.
Tell those guys about us for sure. I'm not going in those weird waters, though. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, we are here to talk about The Mandalorian, Season 3, Episode 1. We are live. Thanks for joining us as you do. And or thanks for listening to us after the fact or watching on YouTube. We appreciate it either way. So let's talk The Mandalorian. I want to start out saying that after the Book of Boba Fett, I am glad that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are back in full control. As much as I enjoy a Robert Rodriguez directed film, wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. But this one felt like Mandalorian of old. It was exciting, lots of crazy stuff. They fit a lot in 30 minutes. It was pretty fun.
I gotta ask you, Jay, just because I texted you all. I mean, you just had to be tickled pink with all the fan service that they. I mean, it was like bam, bam, bam. I want to get your perspective because I know you were just like,
oh yeah. I mean, there was a lot of things to enjoy from like a Star Wars nerd perspective. Not the least of which was Babu Freak's people. I
love seeing Mando
the
sitting
Zealots. Yeah. He's all hunched over. I love that Grogu tried to like eat one or like hug one. Like, shit was great. I wasn't a huge look. I like all Star Wars, but The Last Jedi was, or not The Last Jedi, but the Rise of Skywalker was not my favorite film in the franchise. But I did love Babu Freak, so I was pretty excited to see the Anzellans. That was pretty fun. I think it's cool that we're bringing back IG-11 eventually. I think that's kind of fun. He was a cool character. Yeah, there was some other big things there that I could talk about here in a minute. But
they had Taylor's least favorite. What's the thing that always hangs around Jabba the Hutt? The little
Salacious B. Crumb. They just told us this.
Salacious
I know.
B.
I couldn't
Crumb.
remember.
He's but that's one guy. Those are I'm failing in they're monkey lizards. Kowakian monkey lizards. Kowakian? Yeah, Kowakian monkey lizards. That was fun.
But Jay, I feel like you need to send out an official apology to Star Wars. The fact that you watched this today and not yesterday, I was shocked when you texted. I was blown away. And you forgot it came out yesterday.
Technically it came out on the 1st. It wasn't even yesterday. Well, I guess it was yesterday. So you know what? I've thought it was the 3rd all day long today. I thought it was Friday all day. So I've been a little wonky.
Still though,
but yeah, for some reason I thought it was coming out at the end of March or like in the 20s of March. So it was really weird. I got the message. I'm like, what? And then, I mean, not to shamelessly plug a different show, but Casey's found this show called In the Line of Duty or Line of Duty it's a British TV show. It's really good. That I was like, that we've been watching, we've been binging it, and I've enjoyed it. So I was wrapped up in that and wasn't thinking about it. But yeah, I do owe an apology to the nerddom because
shame on you for all the things on that upper shelf. Like, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, your goddamn ringtone, R2D2.
I know, dude. Well, ironically enough, before it was R2, I did a little stint with it being Babu Freak, going, I am Babu Freak. So I'm thinking I have to switch it back now after this episode. So one thing that really got me stoked is at the beginning when they're in hyperspace and Grogu sees the Purrgil. The Purrgil, yeah.
Yeah, what the hell is that about?
So those were in Star Wars Rebels, the animated show. They're like space whales that can travel through hyperspace. But they're cool. Like they play a really big part. Like they've been part of Star Wars lore, deep lore, like book lore for a minute. You didn't know what they were. They were just mentioned once or twice in a book. And then they took them, and Filoni in Rebels turned it into a thing, and they're like big tentacled whales that can travel through hyperspace and on their own.
What do they do though? Why are they so important?
Well, that's just like how they migrate, and isn't it like people or whatever saw them, and that's how they learned how to travel through the hyperspace lanes was by copying the space whales.
Yeah, the Purrgil made like an understanding of hyperspace. It used to be that they did just quick short hops in hyperspace, micro jumps, and then they found the space lanes, and that's how the lanes that these guys use, and that's how they found them. That's why you see them in this lane that he's flying in, because they use similar lines. But they also play a huge part in Rebels. I don't want to spoil anything in Rebels, but especially it's like a quick teaser too, because we know the Ahsoka show is coming, and it's going to have a lot of connections to Star Wars Rebels, like they already did with like Thrawn and all those connections from the characters with Rebels. So I'm excited to see that. And they were such a big part of a couple of seasons and a very huge part to the end of Rebels. So that was cool. That was very cool to see those.
I had a question that I was confused when I turned this on and they did like the recap. At the ending of that recap, they had the conversation between Mando and
the armor.
Yeah, the armor. That I was like, wait, when did that conversation happen? I was like, what the hell? I don't remember that from season 2. And then I went back to episode 8 and I was like, it's not in there. Like, where did that come from? That threw me off.
Boba Fett.
That's because I never watched that because I heard it was so bad. I was like, I'm not going to watch it. So that scene, is that
you do need to go back? So you should go back and watch. What is it, Alec? The last 3 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett,
5, 6, 7, or something like that as well.
Yeah, because it connects directly to.
All right, well, I'll have to do
the Mandalorian. You don't really need to watch the rest of it, to be honest. I mean, you could. It's not. You don't need to though. The last 3 episodes, I think you'll have to double check. And I can look for you too, but they're like I think it's the last 3 episodes directly tied to Din Djarin and Grogu and the Mandalorian. So that's where that conversation comes from.
And then another question, Bo-Katan, right? The chick on the throne. Re-explain to me. I know she needed the Darksaber to lead the people, but that whole why does Mando have the Darksaber? Why didn't he just give her the Darksaber? I don't remember the whole premise of that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's huge lore, and that's going to come in a lot to play this season if it goes the way that I think it will. And that is from both Rebels and the Clone Wars. And so you're introduced to Bo-Katan Rise in the Clone Wars. She's the sister of Obi-Wan Kenobi's girlfriend, Satine Rise, and she was like, anyway, they're royalty on Mandalore during the Clone Wars era. And there was a big battle in the Clone Wars for the Darksaber, and Darth Maul has the Darksaber, and by having the Darksaber, a certain amount of the Mandalorians follow him simply because he has it. It's the only Mandalorian Jedi created that saber, and he became the king of, well, he didn't, but descendants of him, they called him, if you have it, you're called the Mandalore, and there's like a whole bunch of lore around it. But anyway, and the one thing about it is, so at the end of Rebels, there's another character that I think we'll meet in Ahsoka, Sabine Wren, that gives Bo-Katan, because Sabine Wren gets it from Maul, wins it from Maul, and then should, in theory, become the ruler of Mandalore at that point. But she doesn't want that. She needs to go help her friends, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on with Rebels. So she gives Bo-Katan the dark saber. And by giving it to her, there was some question of, the idea is you have to win it through battle and take it that way. Because it was given to her, a lot of the Mandalorians at the time followed her because of it. And that's why we're introduced to her, because she's going after Gideon to get it back. But then Din Djarin wins it from Gideon, and she knows she can't take it by being gifted to her again. That's why she doesn't take it at the end of season 2. And so now when she doesn't have it and she can't get it, she's lost her soldiers. So that's where we're at with that. Now, I don't know. Like, I'm interested to see, because Bo-Katan's an interesting character. So I don't know how they're going to go with this, but I'm intrigued to see.
She seems like a meanie.
Yeah.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
I was surprised by what Grief Karga was able to do to Navarro.
Yeah,
in like
it was cool.
3 days.
Right.
Like, shoot, the improvements around there. He's got a school where a saloon used to be. Everything turned into a respectable town. So now I have to wonder who's going to try and take it over.
Well, obviously it's the pirates now. The pirate gang. I was kind of, what's the pirate that was throughout? What's his name?
Hondo.
I was so pissed when they started introducing pirates and the Pirate King, and I'm like, no, where the hell's Hondo? Like,
right? Because even like the pirate henchmen were the same species of whatever Hondo is, right?
Yeah, they were all Weequay and Nikto and
yeah, like the guy from what's the pirate movie? Davy Lockett.
Davy Jones.
Davy Jones or whatever. Yeah.
Davy Lockett.
Davy Lockett.
He was trying to be Davy Jones, Davy Crockett.
And the Locker all in one.
Yeah, it's said it all. Pirates of the Caribbean. There we go. Came to me finally. They look like people from that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. And it's very interesting to see what he did with Navarro. And obviously the pirates are going to be an issue. What a cool space battle too, within like the asteroids. And though I gotta say,
my favorite.
Yeah, it was dope. Well, and you gotta say, like, Grief's gonna be pissed because they took out some mining equipment there, which is a big part of his new funding plan. But yeah, I mean, I thought that was cool.
Had to pay for his little cape holder robots.
Well, yeah, what kind of Helen statue? That statue had to have been so heavy to smush IG's head like that. The hell was that thing made of? Oh God, what a great show. Yeah, it was a fun episode. And it was nice and short. It was right back to what I remember the best parts of the Mandalorian.
What do we feel about the beginning though? I know JJ had some thoughts on the whole baptism or whatever, the initiation.
I mean, I thought that was a cool part. Like, it was really interesting to see that little piece of like another one of their traditions, I guess, and how they do it. I was just sitting there when the big old giant crocoturtle or turtle croc came out of the water. I'm like, if you knew that was there, I mean, couldn't you like fill a little, like dig a hole in the sand and fill it with water as opposed to like because eventually that's gonna happen, right? Like,
yeah, but this is Death Watch. Only the strong survive, JJ.
That's what. It's fair enough. Fair enough.
The convenient timing by Mando showing up there.
Yeah, for sure.
Where do you get that ship? Yeah. It's a dope ship. It made me think of Naboo.
He got that at the end of season 2. It is a Nabooan. What did they call it? Naboo. Yeah, it's a Star Cruiser. Is what they call it.
Z-100 Starfighter, something or whatever.
Yeah, the Naboo Starfighter. Yeah, he got it from the most whatever.
Mos
Espa. He got it from the crazy mechanic chick after.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because his ship got blown up when they were trying to save.
I remember his ship got. I mean, his ship beaten the fuck out of for 2 seasons. I was like, that thing's done.
Yeah, well, then it got literally destroyed, like by the Dark Troopers when they were taking Grogu. So he had
and that was my other question. Where a bit, maybe I need to watch this last Boba episodes. What in season 2 of The Mandalorian? Luke's there, kills the Dark Troopers. From that, it looks like he's gonna take Grogu, Baby Yoda, go do their thing, train him, blah 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 blah. I didn't anticipate to see Baby Yoda. Obviously, he's there. So what did I miss?
The Book of Boba Fett's really not really about Boba Fett. It's about every other storyline that ties together, conveniently placed in the TV show that predominantly stars Boba Fett.
Yeah. It was basically like...
That seems like there's a problem there.
Yeah.
They were like, we have this cool idea. Let's do a Book of Boba Fett show. And then, because Boba Fett's Boba Fett, so we can make it happen. They wrote the character really out of character for, I feel redundant there, but it wasn't, they changed Boba Fett's character in a lot of ways, and not great ways in most cases.
Was he kind and caring instead of menacing and backstabbing?
Yeah.
I mean, he was trying to be like, no, I'm going to be a good Hut.
Our Hut's good? I'm like,
no.
I mean, he's like, I'm going to be this guy and I'm going to take over Jabba's area, but I'm going to be a nice guy. And it's like, wait, what? That's not how that works. Anyway, it's weird. The most of the show is really weird. I didn't hate it, but it was just weird. There were some cool parts, but it was weird. But anyway, at the end, it became like season 2.5 of The Mandalorian. The last like 3 episodes, 3 or 4. I think it's 3. I think it started in 7, like 7, 8, and 9 is pretty much, or if it's 4, 5, 6, I don't know how many episodes there were. But it's the Din Djarin's in the last 3 episodes, as is Grogu. And basically Luke has like his another Sith moment where he puts like an absolute decision to Grogu, and you can either hang with me or you can take this and go back to Din Djarin. And Grogu's like, peace out, bitch. And goes back to Din Djarin.
That's a direct quote too, Mattson. Peace out, bitch.
Yeah.
You even had subtitles for it and everything.
Exactly.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
That's right. That's why I was like, wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah, but Hidden Daddy was a Sith.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. That is fair. And we know he's got some dark side tendencies, but yeah, it was just one of those things where that's all they did was they were like, here, and that's how the armor finds out he took his helmet off. That's where he has a dark saber. He's like a weird lightsaber fight with the big dude. That's always with it was voiced by Jon Favreau and suited up Jon Favreau in it, that has like the mini gun thing. So he has like this lightsaber fight with him, and then it was weird. It was weird. But that's where it came from, is how Grogu's back in the fold and hanging out.
Got it.
It's a great way to get people to watch the Book of Boba Fett by making it Mandalorian season 2.5.
Well, I think they wrote this and they were like halfway through writing it, and we're like, nobody's gonna watch this shit. So let's throw Din Djarin and Baby Yoda in this son of a bitch, and we'll get them back. That's what it felt like to me, anyway. And he stole the show anyway. Like, he came back and it was like, oh, this is better. Yeah. When he came back, and then little Grogu comes in and like tames why can't I think of the name?
Rancor?
Yeah, it tames like this wicked Rancor. I was like, wow, okay.
Speaking of Baby Yoda, I loved with the magistrate. Oh, let me pause. High magistrate.
Get it right.
Yeah.
When Mando was telling him Grogu's name, he's like, yeah, sure, whatever you say. And I feel like that was fan service, because everyone's like, oh yeah, F Grogu, just call him Baby Yoda or the child or whatever. Like, let's never say the name again.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I laughed quite out loud when he's like, oh yeah, whatever.
And then him sucking the little, what looked like a Star Wars M&M or Skittle or something. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cute.
Well, and I love that he was using the Force to spin the chair. Yeah. So that's what my dumbass would do if I had to be like, woo. Check out this trick. And he's always funny too when they're in like a big space battle and he's just giggling. Like that shit was funny.
And he's going, wee.
Yeah.
Are there any more fan theory? I mean, I'm sure you've read some stuff, JJ, about Baby Yoda though, and like what Baby Yoda's purpose, like who is Baby Yoda?
You know, there's yeah, pretty much cuteness overload. There's not a lot like that I've found. I mean, I know there's a lot of like fan fiction, but there's not a lot of like real theories, like deep cut theories, because he's such a new character. And there's people that are asking, you know, where was he during the, you know, how did we not hear about him before? But that's what I love about it, is all this is so new. It's like getting a new novel back in the day when I was younger. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we got new stuff and new characters to talk about. And that's, I love that we're bringing back some of the legend stuff too in the middle of this. Like, I think that's why Jon Favreau's like, let's create this new Star Wars property. And Dave Filoni's like, yeah, but let's throw in all the cool shit that I read when I was a kid. And because like the Hydean way, when they were talking about the Hydean way, that's been in the non-canon, what's non-canon, or they call the Legends continuity now. Like, it's the connection between the inner rim and the outer rim for all of the space lanes and the trade and things. So, but it had never, outside of the books, the non-canon books now, it'd never been mentioned now, but now it's canon again. And so I love that that's what Favreau and Filoni are doing, is they're throwing in all this old canon stuff, non-canon now, but bringing it back. So it's just fun that way. But I don't know. I hope, like I said, I think I told you guys when we were doing this way back in second season that there was like some fan art of a grown-up Grogu. And I say grown up, I mean, he's the size of Yoda, but he's got on all his Beskar armor. Just looks bitchin'. And I was like, that'd be cool if we got like an adult Grogu at some point, dressed up in his armor. And yeah, but
I'd be ready for that.
Yeah, it'd be cool as hell. But I also, it's a double-edged sword too, because there's not many characters in this time frame that you don't go, oh, I hope they get to live a long life. You know what I mean? Because we don't see them in the sequel trilogy, and we don't hear about them. And so there's a lot of room for, you know, what the hell happened to them in between. And usually it's not a good thing, because I feel like somebody like Mando would show up in the big space battle in The Rise of Skywalker. You know what I mean? But he wasn't created at that point.
Rise of Sky, I mean, isn't Disney Star Wars kind of like trying to shy away from Rise of Skywalker and almost like reinvent the wheel again?
I mean, if rumors are true, they're talking about completely rewriting the canon anyway, which they set up in Rebels that they could do something like that. So, but I don't know
how Star Wars people get with that, dude. All the old Star Wars people just need to die and let us like reinvent Star Wars.
Whoa.
I think that was directed directly at you, JJ.
No, JJ like is still
fired.
I mean, JJ is
all those old Star Wars people. Wink, wink.
JJ knows what he's talking about. He's talked about it on the show that Star Wars fans, like, they're like,
they're the worst,
prickliest of the bunch, man. Even when you do it right, you do it wrong.
Yeah, they're the worst. We're the worst. I shouldn't separate. We're the worst. I don't like to. Yeah, look, they screwed up a lot in this in the final trilogy, but it could have been worse. Could have been way better, but it could have been worse. But I'm also not of the majority that hated The Last Jedi. I actually thought that shit was cool because I liked the twist on Luke. I thought that was great.
I just look at it as, think about all, like, take Harry Potter fans, for instance. There's a mass amount of people, and they've been waiting like 20 years to get another show, and they still can't get one. Star Wars, bless their soul, had to wait some time, but then they keep cranking stuff out. At least you got stuff. Otherwise, you could have no stuff, and then you're stuck with 4 movies from like 20 years ago.
I mean, look, Harry Potter's just a retelling of Star Wars anyway, dude. Come on, dude. Magical boy born of famous parents, taken in by an old man, taught magic, taught how to handle his magic. Got to fight this villain that was connected to mom and dad and all of his teachers, dude.
You calling J.K. Rowling a fraud?
Goddamn right I am. Plagiaristic son of a bitch she is. Yeah, I mean it's but Star Wars is just a retelling of Fukuyama. I mean, it's just like, so it's like I've said before, all stories have been told before. It's just how can we tweak them up and make them better. But yeah, I get what you're saying. We have content, we just hate it because it's not what we've imagined for 20 years.
On that, and I don't really have any other questions except this one. Now, Star Wars has clearly been heavily leaning into the TV shows, and I think they're doing a pretty good job overall. Are we getting a Star Wars movie in the next couple of years? I haven't even heard anything.
There were plans, and then they scrapped like a couple of them. So I don't think you'll see a Star Wars movie 2025, maybe.
Wow.
They're trying to, I think they're trying to clean the slate a little from the sequel trilogy, and the shows have been doing so well. And when they do another movie, like there was another one that's supposed to, I think it was supposed to be a Rogue Squadron movie, and they scrapped that. And then there was supposed to be another one. I don't remember what it was, but they scrapped it too. And I don't think you see another movie for a while.
I mean,
and I'm okay with that.
TV shows are going great. Like there's no,
if they're going to do another movie, they have to separate it from, it has to be new. And if it were me, what I would do as a diehard freak of a Star Wars fan, I would go back. And I mean, way back. I would do a Bane trilogy is what I would do. Because the Darth Bane story is one of the greatest. And then you get to tell it from a villain's perspective. And one of the villain that created the rule of two for the Sith. So it's new. It's not connected to, like, you don't even have, that's back before Yoda was around. So you don't even have, there is nobody from the original trilogy that can be there. It's all has to be new, and it's dark and it's heavy, and it tells a story that we're all intrigued by as Star Wars fans. How did the Sith, what happened to the Sith? Where did they come from? And the books, the books that were the Bane trilogy, amazing books.
I'm going to have to read them. This is one of the few I haven't read, so I got to do that.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Books.
So you're basically saying step away from Skywalker, which
absolutely
the Skywalker saga, which I think they need to do because it's been so overplayed and saturated. It's like, I don't know what more that we can really do. Like, probably should get out of there.
And I think they need to steer clear of the Jedi, to be honest with you. Like, we know about the Jedi. We know about most of the lore of the Jedi. And especially that they've been writing all these books and comics of like the old Republic. We know a lot about the Jedi. We don't know as much about the Sith unless you go into the non-canon Legends series. Then there's a little more. But I think they have to get away from all the good versus evil shit that we've lived on for Star Wars for so long. I think that's why this show, The Mandalorian, is so successful. Is it's not a good versus evil. It's just this dude trying to take care of this kid. He's living in his own world. He's meeting all these cool people and has all these little missions, but he's not up against some big giant empire. He's just up against his own little missions. And I think that's cool. And he does some questionable shit outside of taking care of the kid, right? Like he doesn't shy away from murking a bunch of freaking pirates in the middle of a street right outside a school's door. You know what I mean? Like, he has no compunction about that shit. So I think that's what makes it cool. I think that's why they need to get away from the typical shit we've seen with Star Wars.
Well, that's why I like what was the last Star Wars show we just reviewed? I'm blanking on the name.
Andor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I like Andor, because it is against the big bad empire in a sense, but it was told in a way and presented in a way that didn't feel prototypical Star Wars, because it's so overplayed that I'm starving for things that aren't that. So yeah, if they could go back in time and do some of that, I think it'd be pretty dang cool. So let's send that out to the masses.
And I'm kind of excited about this new show that's coming, I think next year, The Acolyte, because it's a Sith, like it's a dark side story, not a Jedi story. I hope. I mean, that's at least the base premise that we're getting, is that it's going to be from a Sith perspective or a dark side perspective, not the good side. Now we'll see if they pull an Obi-Wan and get the redemption story. But that's not what I want. I don't want a redemption story. I want Bane. I want this dude to just go ham. And this guy in the books like wipes out the entire Sith population, which is as big, if not bigger, than the Jedi population, and goes after the Jedi. I mean, it's wicked, dude. It's a great story. That's what I want him to do. Look at
Heard it here
dark.
first.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Anyway, but I think it fits with what they're trying. Like if they lean into the Mandalorian type storyline, it fits, right? It's different, and that's what they need to do. More of the same. You're gonna get all the bitching and moaning. Cool. It was a fun episode. I'm glad it's back. I'm sad I was completely out of whack and didn't realize it was back. But
have you only watched it one time so far?
Yep, watched it right before we recorded.
Well, we know there'll be another time tonight.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'll watch it more because if nothing else, I got to see all those little Anzellans, my little Babu Freak buddies. Those guys are hilarious. Had no fix. His head smooth. His head messed up. Like, I just love their silly shit. Like, I love those guys. All right. We appreciate you tuning in. Alec, tell everybody where they can find us when they're not watching us live.
Happy to. Thanks for tuning in to our review of the first episode of season 3 of Grogu Does Cute Shit featuring Din Djarin, the Mandalorian. We kick it off right where we left off with Mando and a few surprises, including a giant crocodile turtle hybrid. This is why we podcast, and we are happy to see where this show goes. Check us out wherever fine podcasts can be found, including Apple, Stitcher, and Ghana. As a disclaimer, because we got a letter, no Kowakian monkey lizards were harmed in the creation of this podcast. Special thanks to our patron, Walking Dead Season 5. Please, Charles, I hope you change your name to David Lockett or Davey Lockett. That would be great. If you would like to join our crew of misfits, Patreon is the best place to do so, where every penny goes towards a GoFundMe for Grogu's Mandalorian armor. With that, I will send it back to the King of Crash, the Titan of Terror, JJ.
I would definitely pitch in for Grogu's Mandalorian armor. That was great. Davey Lockett. That shit. Well played, sir. Well played. Yeah, as always, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Wait.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Cinemagic out.
Whoa!